What's up, everyone? No, it's not breakfast. Yes, I've been bad about this the last 2 days. The schedule's gotten pretty hectic, but yes, I'm trying to be consistent as I can with this and still get a video in every day. The goal is 100. So I don't know if I can call this a breakfast training talk. It'll be labeled a breakfast training talk, but we're going to treat it like one either way. Now, today I want to talk a little bit about how we think about weightlifting. And this is kind of a little bit more of a wild, offbeat one. And there isn't a ton of grounded science. It might be a little more theoretical, but I think it's worth the discussion. Now, I made a post about this, and maybe you saw the post, maybe you didn't, so I'll just reiterate it or describe it. I don't know if reiterate's even the right word, whatever. You get the idea. We'll talk about it as our base to build from there. So the idea is, why do we lift weights and what benefits are there that exist? And now, more times than not, if you went through the educational system that I did, you think about lifting weights in terms of it influencing your physiology, specifically your muscle physiology. The common way of looking at it is like weights break down your muscles. When you lift them, they build new muscles, they get stronger, and therefore you lift more weight. However, if you take a kind of a slightly different approach and don't start from the mechanical kind of physiological side, but instead from the neurological side, it kind of opens up a different perspective. If we look at the nervous system and we think about lifting weights as a mean to provide a way in which the nervous system produces larger amounts of neuromuscular tension than otherwise possible without weights, it kind of opens up a new meaning to weightlifting and resistance training. Think about it this way. If I were to just jump every day, just a vertical jump as much as I can, I at a certain point would no longer improve my gains. I would stop jumping higher. And why is that? Well, the amount of volitional effort I can produce is going to kind of tap out at a certain point, and I'm only going to jump as high as, well, I'm jumping at that current state. So then we got into weightlifting. We should, lift weights and build muscle and get stronger to help us produce more force. And I was like, well, that makes sense. But from a neurological side, what if weightlifting's benefit was in part due to the fact that lifting weights provides a feedback, a physical feedback, a tactile feedback, that means by touch, of actually your ability to produce force. Because when you jump, you're not moving a maximal or limit load, you're just moving your body weight. You're jumping as high as you can, but there isn't any tangible feedback, especially for volitional effort. However, when we lift a weight, volitionally, you trying to move the weight, you get feedback. Are you lifting it? Are you not lifting it? Is it moving quick or is it not moving quick? In turn, that feedback teaches the nervous system, produce more tension. If we assume higher loads, more weight equates to more tension being produced, then we can say, well, the more weight we lift, the higher the feedback is, and in turn that teaches the nervous system to, produce more force. So kind of looking at this from the framework of lifting weights as a means to manipulate how we produce force, and it being an educational tool almost, through which our nervous system learns to produce more force volitionally, that is your own intent to produce force. Then we can look at training in terms of both the magnitude of force, the ability to produce force as a whole, and then, the rate of force production, which is the speed. But again, both times the load on the bar being the feedback loop through which our nervous system is operating against. So I'm going to leave it there for today because I haven't actually thought this all the way through. This is something I have been kind of chewing on, and I'll currently leave it at. As I further put my thoughts together, we might circle back to this. But again, part of the fun of this breakfast talk is talking about random things that I'm thinking about. And that's one of those random things. And to kind of piggyback off of that before I finish this conversation, I do want to add one little bit of, a little bit of a kind of take a little side turn here, and a little tangent, not a big tangent, a small one. But what the implications could be, the implications to this, by the way, if we do look at it from a neurological side, puts a much larger emphasis on the importance of feel, the importance of how that weight feels, how you're producing force against that weight, and in turn, how we look at exposures, right? We're teaching the nervous system. It's not just about the load and accumulation of fatigue, but how many times can we expose our nervous system to producing high levels of force as a whole? Because of those force and the tension produced leads to, the muscular development. If we think it as it's stemming from the nervous system, then we think about that as a means to be improved through exposures, because exposures help make essentially the skill more connected and sticky. Then we could think about training as another axis of exposure beyond just weight and intensity. So I'll leave it there. I appreciate you guys listening. I hope you enjoy. And sorry for getting this out late, but I appreciate y'all. As always, take care, and thanks for listening.